I'm Hugh Robjohns, technical editor of Sound on Sound magazine. Hidden in the historic town of Mafeking, in the top left-hand corner of South Africa, is the BOP Recording Studios, otherwise known as BOP. Rated amongst the top 3 recording studios in the world when it was built in 1991, BOP's 3 studios, all designed by the legendary Tom Hidley to his infrasonic non-environment concept, each feature the largest analogue consoles ever made by Neve, SSL and Focusrite. Sadly, the facility was unused and mothballed for a decade, but its new owner, Saj Chaudry, discussed with me his plans to breathe new life back into this amazing place.
My name is Saj Chaudry. I'm a British citizen. I've made South Africa my home for over 25 years. I am currently the managing director of BOP Recording Studios. BOP, the name BOP comes from Bophuthatswana, which was the name of a homeland. Now, how the idea came about was through the president of the time, whose name was Lucas Mangope, and it was his idea to create something that could get world recognition, bring the people from the rest of the world here to be able to unite. And what better than music? Music tends to be a common language, and that's where the name, the idea was conceived. The studios, as they're built, are in the shape of a rhino. Studio 3 being the head of the rhino, Studio 2 being the front legs of the rhino, and of course Studio 1 being the hind legs of the rhino. And then of course is our hospitality area for the resorting side, which is in the shape of the horn of the rhino. The studios are a very tranquil setting, and it just inspires people once they're here. The project started in 1989 and was completed in 1991. From 1991, our first major international artist that came to record here was the late Laura Branigan. Thereafter, of course, the movie The Lion King followed. Politically, Nelson Mandela was released from prison in 1991. So the whole dynamics of the country changed. And we had, obviously, BOP Recording Studios had challenges. So there was an uncertainty at a time, which was around about 92, which then brought proceedings to a halt for temporarily. PIC, which stands for Public Investment Corporation, then leased the premises to SABC for a number of years, right up until 2003. After that period, the property lay empty, unused for a couple of years, and in 2005, PIC decided to sell it. My vision for the future is to create a hub, arts and culture hub, not just for the country, but for the continent and moreover globally. Not just as recording studios, but also to create an academy. So we would not be totally reliant upon income generated just from the recording studios. So that makes the whole business plan and concept very viable and very exciting. As far as the studios go, Studio 1, it is possibly around about 70% operational. But right now, as we speak, we are embarking on doing full maintenance, recapping. So we prioritized Studio 1, the Focusrite, as well as the Studio 3, which has the SSL control desk. All our studios, the 3 studios, the main studios, the control rooms are identical in size. The exception being the 3 different desks, control desks that we have. The live room side, Studio 1 is the largest. It can hold an orchestra piece of about 110. Studio 2 can do an 80-piece orchestra, and Studio 3 is a smaller one for your smaller bands, from 5-piece band to 7-piece band. We hope that within the next 6 to 8 months, we should be fully operational on 2 of the studios, the 2 studios that I mentioned, as well as the resorting side and also the academy side.
I also spoke to Phil Dudderidge, the chairman and owner of Focusrite Engineering. The first new product Focusrite ever produced under his leadership back in 1990 was the vast and magnificent Studio Console. The fifth of only 10 ever made, and with only 7 left in service today, has pride of place in BOP Studio 1. I'm here with Phil Dudderidge from Focusrite, with the big Focusrite Studio Console. Phil, you said there were 10 of these made altogether.
Yes, the first one was built for Metropolis Studios in London in 1990. I acquired the company, or the business I should say, in 1989, and we evaluated the Forte console that had been developed under Rupert's control, and decided that it was too large and not commercially feasible to continue with. So the team that I assembled at that time redesigned the console along the same sort of cosmetic lines, but with a more manageable set of controls. Not quite as comprehensive, but much more purposeful as a tracking console.
Sure. And it still uses the same basic circuitry, the same ISA 110 modules for the preamp and the EQ.
Yes, the ISA 110 was developed before anything else by Rupert for the Air Studios consoles in London and Montserrat, and they're still used today in the Neve console at Air Lyndhurst.
Right.
The Forte console was evolved from that, so the ISA really came before, and we use that as the principal building block for this console.
Yeah.
So from here to here is the ISA 110,
Yes.
and the ISA 111 was developed by us as the auxiliary send module. Yeah.
Okay. And this has got GML automation.
It has. All the consoles we built were built with GML.
And it's very modular, isn't it? It's what is it, eight channels in a block, and they're very segmented blocks. So presumably it's kind of like a kit of parts. You just build the biggest desk you want.
Indeed so. One of the problems with big consoles was having built them, actually transporting them and installing them. And I've seen photographs of SSLs 60 foot up in the air in New York, going in through a window.
I've seen those.
Well, with the Focusrite console, we addressed that problem from the outset by not actually fully completing the console until it was in the studio. So we would ship each bay or bucket empty of everything except its motherboard and wiring,
Sure.
and assemble the console in situ, and then all the pre-tested modules would be shipped in their own crates and inserted into the thing, and theoretically it would take about 2 days to install and commission.
Yeah.
In reality it took rather longer.
This is a big desk. This is a 96 channel desk, and often as the desk gets bigger, you get problems with noise on the buses. It starts getting a very noisy desk. But you've got over that problem with the way this is designed, didn't you?
Yes, we went for a system of local summing for each bay, so that completely eliminated that problem and made it possible to build a console of any channel size and length without any audio compromise.
Right. And is 96 the biggest that was done, or
Yeah,
the biggest?
this is the only 96. Most of them were 72s. There was 164 at Conway Studios in Los Angeles.
Right.
Most of them were curved like this one. And it's a very shallow curve, but from the centre section you can see the whole console, you can see the meters without any difficulty.
Yeah, it is very ergonomic. So this desk dates from 1991.
Correct.
There were 10 made around that time altogether.
Yes.
I gather you've been on a bit of a quest to track them down, because some have disappeared or broken up or scrapped or whatever.
Yes, well, we're looking back over our heritage. We're coming up to 25 years next year, and we thought we ought to go and look for them. We sold 4 to the States, 4 in Japan, this one in South Africa, and the Metropolis console in England, so that accounts for the 10.
Right. And you at Focusrite were probably the last of the big console manufacturers to join that party with SSL and Neve and Harrison and all the rest. And you were probably the first to get out, weren't you?
Yeah, last in, first out. Yeah, well, we had to acknowledge that after a couple of years we couldn't sell the numbers that we needed to have a viable business. And by 92 the demand was really thin, and large console sales were dwindling. There was anxiety about the emergence of digital, and people were either not investing or investing safely in Neves or SSLs who were battling it out for the dwindling market.
Sure. So what would you say Focusrite is now? What is the company Focusrite today?
Well, Focusrite is the interface company, as I like to say. We did refocus the business about 5 years ago with the intention of becoming the world's leading manufacturer of audio interfaces, and I think we've achieved that.
But the heritage here, the ISA 110 modules, preamps, EQs, that lives on.
Indeed, I mean, preamps are at the heart of our business from the start until today. You know, mic preamps distinguish our audio interfaces from others. I think we can claim to know more about them, and we make perhaps more effort than others to maximise the performance of the mic pre's in our interfaces, whatever the price point. We've also less recognised as being good at digital conversion. We've been building A to Ds and D to As for a lot of years, but because it wasn't our principal business at the outset, we're not so well known for it. But in fact, our conversion technology is second to none, and especially so with our new RedNet system, which has recently been not launched but delivered. Yeah. We launched it a while back, and we've been delivering systems all over the place this year.
Right. Excellent. Phil, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thanks.